Welcome to the Mo Chata Show with Big E. Our featured guests have fished every lake you've heard of and all the ones you haven't. Former Oklahoma Anglers of the Year, David Warrior and Chris Haney.
Everybody set up?
It's live action now.
Live action. Here
Live
we go.
action.
Well, hey, E, we got our boys.
I know it. We got a couple
our
guys, fishermen.
They got some jerseys on. Look at them.
They got their
We
jerseys.
try to be official.
Official.
Yeah.
We got some professional fishing. We got David Warrior. And we got Chris Haney in the house.
I never knew his first name was
Yeah.
David.
Yeah, no. Do you know my first name?
Don't worry about
No, I thought it was just Mo.
it. It's Warrior to you. Start
Is
with
it just Warrior? Yeah, that's
This
it.
is Warrior. Hey, man, we're excited to have you guys on, man. It's I've been, Ethan and I have been like talking about it.
Yeah.
Figuring out if you guys could come on and thanks for coming, man.
Yeah,
what y'all
appreciate
been
it.
up to?
Thanks for having
Appreciate the invite.
Yeah, glad we could finally get you guys off Noah's Ark to come in here
You know,
and do
man.
the podcast.
It's tough. It's tough.
So y'all got to y'all fish tomorrow, right?
us. We got tomorrow. We're fished against each other
Yep.
too. So
What?
Oh.
I thought you guys were always on the same boat.
No, we usually are, but it's changed.
Got to hold these guys back here
Want to
soon.
throw something at him if I see him in my spot.
That's right.
So is it like, again, do you guys not tell each other what you're throwing now since you guys are,
Yeah.
or is it kind of like a,
And that's not that. I mean, we fish together too much. I mean,
Yeah.
if I'd rather one of us win than anybody else. So.
Yeah.
for
So
sure.
you guys might end up at the same hole.
Oh, we will. We will.
Really?
Yeah.
And then what happens? Do you guys fight?
No, I mean, we just cuss each other and keep
Yeah.
on rolling.
Throw rocks in the water and
See,
drive off?
hey, I'm thinking the first thing I'm thinking is I'm throwing lures out.
Yeah.
If I could reach them with the lure, I'm throwing out their boat all day long.
And don't think it don't happen because I mean, for like us, it's normal. I mean, we respect each other's area, but it happens, and people that you don't get
Really?
along with, they'll cuss you. Them old men are the worst. They
Really?
think they own the entire cove if you're in
Really?
there. Yeah, we've taken some cussing before, but
One, so everyone's clear, these guys aren't just fishing off a bank on a pond. You guys actually competitively fish. Is it just Oklahoma or multiple states?
well, it's mostly Oklahoma, but we have qualified for other tournaments away from here. So me and him actually won Angler of the Year one year.
Really?
Qualified to go to South Carolina.
Yeah, went to South Carolina
Yeah.
for nationals.
Yeah.
Yep.
And that was really cool.
Yeah,
It was.
a lot of fun.
So nationals, how many is there like teams, or how many teams are there? Like, do they count boats because it's considered 2 fishermen per boat, or how do they do
Yeah,
it?
they run 2 teams.
There was people from all over the nation
Yeah.
there.
Really?
Everywhere.
Yeah. We even had a team there from South Africa.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah, it was crazy.
Different kind of
Yeah.
fish.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
You know, and it's bass fishing. So your species for us would be largemouth, spotted bass, and then smallmouth. And your best 5 usually in your tournament fishing. So
So,
Is that every
well,
tournament?
yeah,
Every
in the summer sometimes they go to a 3 fish just to make it easier on the fish, just because summertime can be pretty hard on them. So you don't have the 5 fish will kind of goes to 3, but
Well, that's one thing I didn't even think about, because I've seen it on TV. The Bassmaster Classic comes in, and you're watching it, and you're like, man, these guys just catching these bass, and that's all they're catching. I'm like, that lake's got to be full of bass. But like, you guys have to catch a ton, like a shit ton of other fish, right? And like, you just throw them back. Like, how often do you guys catch something else, and you're like, this is no good?
So
like
we call them trash fish.
trash fish.
something
And-
other than a bass,
Yeah.
right? It's referred to a trash.
Yeah.
And a drum is primary. It gets caught a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A drum.
Yeah, or a gaspergoo is what we call them too. So
Listen, it's
all
not a
kinda
drum
like-
like a barrel, bro.
I was like,
It's a fish.
people
Not
just
like
throwing
this.
out musical
Yeah,
instruments.
Hook them down there.
You'll
Bring
be
'em
down
back.
there.
Yeah.
So like when you go to when you qualify, so is it kind of like that every sports, you gotta have so many points to get to a certain level, or is it kind of like, hey, listen, I win this tournament, I'm automatically qualified for the national tournament? How does it go? Is there certain tournaments you have to win, or is there certain tournaments like, I have to get so many points in, or if I'm the top 10, or how does that work?
It's all weight.
So I mean, anglers and not anglers in action.
Angler Nation.
Angler Nation is what we qualified with. So they take the top 2 teams that have the best points throughout the year. So we stayed within the top 10 mostly every tournament, and they keep points. So at the end of the year, we had the lowest points. Right? Is that how they do it?
Yeah.
And whoever has the lowest points actually is the angler of the year. So they do I think there's usually 5 to 7, depends on which tournament we're in.
Right.
But at the end of the year, they crowned us, angler of the year, and we qualified for the team championship, which, like you said, is nationwide.
Right.
We went there. It's brand new to us for one thing. The water's completely different.
The tournament trail paid for our entry fee there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We got sponsors enough to pay for hotel and gas and all that other stuff.
Yeah.
But the actual tournament fee, it was all covered. So that was a plus.
Well, like you said, that lake is completely different to you. Like,
it was tough for us. Like, our practice was awful.
really.
Awful.
So you guys, they give you like a practice day or something
You do.
to go out and figure out
Right.
different codes
Yeah.
or different.
Right.
So,
We went the week before, and we had 3 days or 2 days.
3 days, 2.5 days.
2.5 days.
Yeah, one day we had to be off early.
And I literally caught one bass in our
Practice.
pre-fish before, until we found this cove. We just randomly said, let's just go north. Went north, pulled in, and pulled into this cove, and it was just plumb full of shad, which what we were looking for.
Right.
And pull up the little brush
shad,
pile.
is that like
It's
a
bait
term
fish.
for
Mm-hmm.
bait fish?
Yeah. And
That's what you'll use to catch.
no, we can't use it. It has to be all artificial bait. So
Okay.
Wow, that's cool.
So shad is something you look for where there might be a lot of bass there because the bass.
they just follow.
Right,
They follow
that's
them.
shad.
their main forage a lot of times.
Okay.
And you've got gizzard shad, threadfin shad, and this lake particular was a herring.
Okay.
Is a type of the bait.
So bass
fish.
follow those because they like to eat them.
Yeah.
And that if there's
Bait ball, yes, with thousands and thousands of bait, and you'll find these little wolf packs, and they will just follow those shad around.
so when you find a big group of shad, you're like, this is a honey hole.
Well, and you'll see
Can
them
be.
with our
Can be.
electronics. You can see the fish. Like electronics come way a lot
Yeah.
farther than you
I
can
mean,
think
it's
of.
crazy because whenever I seen his boat, and he's like, man, I got this fish finder, right? So I look at it, it's like the size of the TV, and I'm like, and there's like 3 TVs up
get
here. And I'm
football on
like,
there?
what? I said, is that
Yeah, of course.
cheating? Is that cheat? Like,
Yeah,
is
can
that
you
cheating
use
for
that?
people? So do they have certain things that you can't use out there, or is it what
There's
is?
certain baits you can't use.
Right.
When it comes to electronics, there's not. I mean,
Okay.
it's a big deal right now. Like for the pros, they don't see it. Live scope is what it's called.
Okay.
It's forward-facing sonar. You see the fish
Real time.
in real time. Like
Really?
I can see if you jumped in the water, I could see you swimming in the water.
Really?
Oh, God.
You're probably not.
And
I'm
it's
quick.
it's
That'd be
gross.
well, dude.
Yeah.
Michael Phelps quickness.
Floating is what I see in there. Yeah. So,
Really,
but that
drowning.
was probably one of the coolest ones we went to. That pocket we found, Haney found a great fish in our practice, and we're like, this is where we're coming.
Yeah.
And
Because we could actually caught the fish, and you could see other fish the same size come up
Yeah.
with
Really?
that fish. Yeah. So you knew that there was a school there, and then we found other bait. We found some more brush piles, and it was about this kind of the same thing, the same
So-
caliber, size fish. You know.
Can you rely on that spot? Like, do the schools like move quite a bit, or do they tend to stay in a somewhat of the same area? Like, they won't jump to the other side of the lake in a day or something.
Right. They'll typically follow that bait. So usually overnight, that bait will gravitate towards the backs of those pockets, so
Okay.
the fish will move, and then sun comes up, and as the day goes on, the bait moves out towards
Like
the
the center
main
of the-
mouth,
okay.
and then those bass will follow those fish out. So
yeah, you look at stuff like that, and then they make it sound so easy. You know what I mean? Like it's,
Yeah.
I've asked him. I said, man, how'd the tournament go? He's like, man, I couldn't catch one fish. You know what I mean? It's just
Yeah.
like, and it's, I know it's rare for you. Well, maybe it's not. I mean, is there often you go to tournaments where you just don't even get a bite? Because I went fishing before.
Yeah.
Obviously, got not the Charles level, maybe way higher. But
Yeah.
I mean, when I go out there, when I want to have a bite for 3 days. Is that something that you guys typically,
I mean, you can have all the technology in the world, the perfect baits. If the fish doesn't want to eat, they're not going to eat. You know,
sure.
I mean, so I think the primary thing is being around the fish. You know, certain times a year. You know, depends on where they set up. You know, this spring they're starting to flood towards the creeks because they're trying to get ready to spawn.
Makes sense.
Okay.
You know, and it all about, you know, if you can make one mad enough or get that. A bass will respond out of aggression a lot of times.
Really?
So not just food, but it will react to your bait. You know,
So
if
you can
drop it on his head.
piss them off by doing different things with your line with the bait.
can, yeah.
And they'll get frustrated. And
Right. Yeah.
That's interesting, man. That's
Oh, it is.
Especially when they protect a bed. You know,
Yeah.
if a fish is on a bed, then you put in that. It's called a sweet spot. You know, each bed, it's got its little certain area, and if that fish doesn't want that, you know, because it feels like it's a predator in its bed.
Yeah. So
You
it's
know, it'll.
Well, it's kind of like what Chance was talking about, the tapped off deal. You know, that
Yeah.
sweet spot. You know,
Yeah.
so it seems
Yeah,
like
sweet spot
everything we
fishing.
go to, like
Yeah, there's-
Jake was talking about. Hey, you have that sweet spot going into those, turning into those corners and stuff.
yeah. There's something that gives you an edge if you can find it.
Yeah.
When is there a certain time of day that is best for fishing? Because I know I've gone out, which you know I'm champion fisherman myself, but
As you can tell by his hat.
that's right. I wear this all the time.
Scared him.
It helps.
You just
me.
need some lures.
Yes,
man,
I
for
know.
it.
You guys got to hook me up so I look legit. But I mean, you know, is there a time of day like you were saying that you know they tend to ebb and flow a certain direction depending on if it's morning or midday? Is that factor into like the sun coming out and heating up the water? Do they look to go towards the center of the lake for cooler water, or what? How does that factor?
Or
in?
like or does it come up to the surface because there's a certain temperature or down? Do they drop down deeper? Or?
Yeah. Times of day are definitely key. You know that you normally hear the early bird gets the worm. You know that first morning, and then in the evening. And I think it has to do. Wouldn't you agree with light?
Yeah.
Light is a big factor.
Even at night, when you have a moonlight, you have a full moon,
Really?
they like to eat at night.
Wow, I didn't know
That's
that.
crazy. Yeah.
That's crazy. Yeah,
So-
and especially like whenever you go, you know, especially when you watch stuff on like whatever the social media stuff.
Yeah.
I see like 1,000 boats take off at the same time.
Oh
Is
yeah.
do they draw numbers or do they? I mean, it's crazy
It's like
because
the Oklahoma land run. on
yeah,
those
it's just
things,
like
man.
you know, and I know
Yeah.
people are going for certain spots that they pre-fished at. You know, like hey, listen, they found that honey hole. But do you draw a number and then hey, then somebody might be there? Is that kind of how it goes?
Yeah. How does that work with the lineup?
So it depends on which club you're in. So the one tomorrow, we do an honor start because it got to where it was a little chaotic because there is so many boats. So like Nichols Team Trail, there's usually 200 to 250 boats, and they give you a number and the night before, and you push up whenever they call your number. They go in flights and it's a mess whenever you come out there
Chaotic.
because I mean. Last weekend we were at Nichols, and when we took off, the waves were so bad, like it was, blowing 30 miles an hour, and there wasn't no wind.
Right.
It's just so many boats are taking off, and if you're not paying attention, I mean, it'll throw you sideways, or you get ran over.
It can be pretty dangerous.
Yeah, it looks
You
like
have
it.
to-
I mean, I've seen some pictures and some videos where some bass boats flipped. I mean, they look like they're just barely touching the water.
People getting run over.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So
I mean, I've seen some bad wrecks too. Like I said, last year was we were at 10 Killer early in the season when the water's changing from hot to cold, cold to hot. We get fog. We went out of one bay. It's called Sizemore. A guy came out, ran straight into the fog. Had another guy didn't know he was coming and just
oh man.
Yeah.
ran right up on
So
top of him.
one side, the fog bank was fairly clear. The other side, you had the fog bank where he was going slow, and the guy came into the fog bank.
Jeez.
He didn't shut it down in time
Right.
and speared the boat. So
It was bad.
yeah, lucky nobody
Sounds
died.
Do you guys prefer to be in the mess or like go first, or do you prefer to kind of wait back, let everyone go, or is it that competitive where you're like, I got to get to that spot, so I don't care where I'm at, I just want to be first? It's kind of like traffic. It's like I'd rather wait for it to die down.
Personally, myself, and I think David's the same way. Is this fishing is our competitive, just like our sports that we used to do. So before each tournament, I still get butterflies. You know, and you're anxious, you're ready to go, and that first run of the morning, I mean, you're zoned in, your nerves are going, and you want to get to that spot. So, I mean, you want to get there first. So an early number is always, personally myself, is better.
Haney's usually freezing by then. He's
Oh, yeah.
bundled up. He has to get his 4 or 5 pictures in with us together.
Hey, listen, I was going to ask you. Listen, from the time that you guys put the boat off of the of your boat,
trailer.
the trailer, and how many from off the boat trailer to your spot? How many selfies as
well, it sucks because he's a good looking guy and I'm all fat and I'm holding my wheel back. He's like, look, man. I'm like, I can't even suck in because I got 3 layers and my life jacket and all kinds of shit on. And
hey, that's what
he's looking good.
Hey, everywhere we go, dude. And listen, none of us. And the good thing about it is we have a friend like that because we would never have any memories.
You don't have any photos.
You know what I mean? It's like everywhere we go, he's like, "Come on, dude, let's go." Mm-hmm. So I was wondering about that. As you're fishing,
we get plenty in, bro.
Have
have
you guys ever been in a wreck and have you gotten like a photo mid wreck?
I've got thrown around before. I ain't gonna lie to you.
For sure.
He's been on the phone, and we've ate some over the front, and I mean, it's scary. So,
but you do that when you're a good-looking dude. You know what I mean?
That's right. You gotta be.
He was. I think
he's on a couple calendars.
He's like a 3-year running fishing hottest model. I think that's what they call it.
He just holds up a bass butt naked right in front of his truck.
You know what I'm saying? I think he's on fishing calendars. That's good though, because I was always wondering that.
Yeah.
But I do have something to bring up though, because it's kind of fun. I just heard about it today. Is you guys were fishing and you guys were out somewhere and Warrior asked you to hit this branch that had what was on it?
Mayflies.
Mayflies.
Yes, that was fun.
So you know the mayflies.
Yeah.
So listen, I seen the video and I'm sure it wasn't the original video.
It was not a normal mayfly like couple mayflies.
It was full-blown mayfly hatch.
No,
thousands of mayflies.
The video. So you could obviously Warrior's video. So he's looking up. Haney's on the front of the boat. And he's like, just grab it. So he grabs this limb, and seconds. Haney's covered of it. Like, you can't even see his jersey.
How many did you eat?
Man, yeah, it was.
Well, I'm laughing and I suck one down my throat.
Yeah, we'll never forget that.
And there was,
trip, for sure.
Every cove we went to was great. The trees are great. That's how many mayflies.
That is
I'm talking.
Where was that at? Was that at
Hudson?
That was in Hudson.
Oh,
Yeah.
Hudson.
Oh my god!
I love
So
that.
is that normal? Is that kind of like a?
It just depends on when you catch it. But if you catch it right, I mean, your bait fish are feeding on the mayflies, and then your bass are coming in to feed on your bait fish.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's it can be really good.
It's good until you eat a ton of them.
Yeah.
Hey, what's even funnier? I'm laughing because you have a big dude like Haney, and you have this
Screaming like a girl.
mayfly screaming like a girl. He was. I mean, dude, you gotta see the video.
We gotta get that video and put it on.
Oh yeah, dude, send that to
I
me.
wish I had an original because that's like a video of a video. And
Yeah,
I'm
so
like,
it's kind of plexed.
yeah.
No, it's
But you
okay.
can see that.
Oh no,
it's loud.
listen, that video worked perfectly. So it's got to because I'm not. He literally just shook it, and I mean seconds. It was all over his back and hat.
I mean,
like
it was only one limb, and I'm talking the entire bank was like that.
Can you use those? So you guys were talking about bait,
I said the
specific
same
bait.
Yeah.
Can you use those as bait?
You can't. It has to be
Can't?
artificial only.
Artificial only. So what's the best artificial bait? Is it the ones with like the little metal on it that shines? Can you use that?
So it all depends on
There's
the
a
year.
zillion choices.
So
Yeah.
sorry I cracked that egg.
Yeah,
open.
yeah.
It is.
I was
We don't
just
use
used
the ones with metal.
back in the
Too
day. I
much.
just used a worm, you
Yeah.
know, and a stick.
Yeah.
drop it down.
You know, I catch a
Goldfish, whatever you
30-pound
get.
bass, you know, easy, you know. But
There's so many techniques and ways, and there's some baits that I don't like to throw, and I would rather just fish my comfort zone and my style rather than try and fish these baits and like a jerk bait,
Right.
for instance. I don't really care to throw a jerk bait. but it's this time of year. It's a major player.
I got you.
would rather find something else or have my partner throw a jerk bait.
There you go. Yeah.
And so, like a jerk bait, is that just like a? So I'm just curious. Is that a specific kind of lure, or like? Because I know everyone. Well, I don't know everyone, but fly fishing. They have a technique.
Yeah, right.
And when you guys are there, there's techniques that you guys use in baits. So is jerk bait? Is that like you guys? I mean, me being illiterate in this subject,
Yeah, for
are you
sure.
jerking the line, or is it like a type of bait called jerk bait?
Yeah.
And either one, like, what do you use as a technique that's most effective? Are you guys pulling the line, letting it sink?
So a jerk bait is, in essence, it's a hard stick lure that will dive down and it suspends. So that's your jerk. So every time you jerk, it
Oh, okay.
goes down and then suspends.
Okay.
Okay.
Just sits there and the fish can't take it. They can't.
Right.
I got you.
And nowadays
Yeah,
with
chirping at
the
the bit.
forward facing sonar, as you can see the fish and how they're setting up. You see your bait, you jerk it down, and you try to get it to
So you
stop
can see
on
the
your
actual
nose.
bait. You can see everything.
For sure.
It's like a freaking ring
It's cheating,
doorbell.
dude. It's
For
cheating.
sure. You see.
That's why I
That's
suck
why
at
it's such a
fishing,
big
because they didn't
deal.
have this
That's why
technology.
there's such a controversy with it. But I mean, like I said, you still have to
You still have to
catch
hook
them.
them. Yeah, you still have to hook them. And then, going off of that, Big E, is like I've seen a lot of these cats, when they cast, there's an art. You know what I mean? Like, they throw it out there and they're throwing it like I can see them. Like, I'm going to throw it and hit that rock. Right by the rock, drop it in there. And then if they miss it real quick, throw it right back out there. Say, well, Warrior was showing me.
On accuracy, too.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Some
I mean-
people think they're just throwing it in the water. I saw a gender reveal the other day, and this guy was on a boat, and they had a floating target.
Yeah.
And he cast it out and just crushed the target, and
Oh.
that was I hit
Yeah,
the mic.
that's cool.
But that was like the blue came out of it.
Oh,
and I'm
that's
like,
cool. You can't do that, bro. Listen, unless it's the worm
You go
dropping in
left hand,
down.
you can't do that shit. You gotta go
I
right
can't
hand.
even hit the catcher in the chest when I'm throwing it home
That's a
plate.
good point. Good point.
Man, so that's I mean, a lot of people. I mean, like me, just a common person looking at it is like, oh, they just cast it out in this giant lake.
Yeah.
But you guys actually have zones.
So there's targets, especially with the forward facing sonar. It will actually give you the distance of where your target is at. So
That's
60
crazy.
feet.
So it's by feet?
Yes.
No way. So you guys have that.
You have a cone that a certain area that these where the fish is set up. You've got a distance. You throw it out and
No
try to get
way.
that distance.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
It's like a video game at that
It
point.
is.
really
It's
is.
video game fishing.
That's awesome. Maybe I'll get into fishing.
yeah,
You
you
guys
should.
take me out?
No.
Let
Let
me get on tournament
I'm all
boat.
booked up.
Come on. He's like,
Well,
I'm all booked up.
Then I've also seen it where, like, you have a dock out there, and they're like, and me and Warrior's talking about this too. They skip it, bro. They skip it where
it
it
like a
goes
rock?
underneath the dock.
No way.
Yeah, and I'm
I
like,
don't believe Warrior could do that.
I don't believe you can wear hats like that.
I can
Watch
rock
out here.
this. It's.
it's the wrong team.
So
but
you
we'll
guys
tell you
actually do.
good.
So you side arm it,
Yeah.
and it skips across the
skips
street.
crazy, man.
So do you use a type of lure that's a little heavier to skip, or what?
I mean, it's all in the reel and the way actually you throw the bait.
Yeah.
A lot of all the baits you're going to skip.
And how the bait's designed, like a
Jesus.
plastic bait that's it's flat sided will typically skip a lot better,
Right.
than trying
Really?
to skip a spinner bait or an actual hard plug. I mean,
Right.
those are not going to skip very well.
Dude, I hate even admitting it. I stopped fishing a long time ago because I
Same.
couldn't figure out the bait caster.
Couldn't
I
figure out
spent
the
more
reel.
time getting the freaking web out than I did fishing. So then I went to is it open reel,
Spinner
rod.
rod.
spinner
Yeah.
rod.
Uh-huh.
Went with those, got those down a little bit, didn't catch very much. So I'm like, never gonna fish it.
No,
Then I asked
dude.
him if I could go fish with him. He told me no.
Yeah, he told me no just now. I've been
It's
asking.
way
him.
cheaper. You don't have to get into it.
I'll give you
Man,
a stupid pole.
Yeah, give me one of those Barbie poles, man.
Hey,
I
Like a
caught my
little plastic fish that comes on the end.
yes.
Throw that bitch out there.
I caught my
Reel her
first
in.
fish this past summer. Well,
I think you told me about that.
It was a catfish on Hudson at this dock. I dove in and wrestled it down. It was a man killer. It almost ate me, but I jumped in
wish
the
you
whale
would.
that some bitch.
How much did
But
it weigh?
it was probably, I mean,
8,500
I think JJ was there. How big was that catfish? I mean, it was like this big. It was a
Yeah, it was a little one. I got video of it.
little. We'll show that. We'll get some.
Okay,
footage.
so
But
we're
that
gonna
was
blow it up or what?
that was the
make it
second,
real
maybe
big.
the other fish that I caught before that was at in Knoll, Missouri. I'm trying to think of that river in Knoll, but it was
Neosho River.
no, it's like a floating river
Oh,
in Knoll,
the
Elk River,
Elk.
Elk River.
Yeah.
And I was out there with a net. I was a young boy,
Yeah.
and I caught this giant bass. bass, man. It was big as this room, but it was all fucked up. Like it looked like it got shot, and it was like bleeding and stuff. And I was like, look at this fish. And my cousins, they grew up in the country, like, that don't count. And I was like, yes, it does. It was like half dead, so I don't count that one. But that catfish, man, I was proud of that. Caught it in front of my lady. Now you know where we're at now. You know where we're at now, Craig. That tipped it over right there. She's like,
that two
like, I'm having babies with him.
That's my man.
That's my man. That's my baby. Yeah.
One thing too, we'll get off that 2 pound catfish, but one thing that's great. Oh my bad, I forgot the half.
Had a family of 4.
Oh no, that's the other half's her kid.
That morning.
Yeah, but how the big we talked about this too is it was on the news and it still is do you guys experience where they put the weights in those whatever kind of fish?
Oh,
do you guys
the cheater guys?
Yeah,
you got caught with all those
The
weights.
cheater debacle.
Yeah, do you guys? And to me, I think that would make you guys, the people that maybe don't do it, maybe you guys
pissed
do it, but
off.
I don't know. But
Because they won a lot of
gear,
shit from that. They won like $100,000 something, a boat, like all this
yeah.
stuff. I'm like, shoot.
So do you guys experience that a lot?
Yeah, do you guys
or in your
run into that?
tournaments, other people or whatever?
So for up there, for here, they do random lie detector tests.
Lie detector test?
Oh yeah, polygraphs.
Yeah.
No
in
way.
Big tournaments are usually
before-
for the.
Do you supply the equipment for that?
No. So they will,
Is that before and after or both?
after.
After.
Yeah.
Okay.
They'll usually do the top 3 sometimes.
No way.
I had no idea.
Yeah.
So it's usually like, do you want to do it? And you're like, yeah. And you're like, all right, we'll take your partner.
Yeah.
This random person.
So did they not do it with those guys, or just because it seemed like it was a big?
I guess not.
But it was a different kind of fish, though.
It's a
wasn't it?
walleye.
So your guys is
trail.
on the bass deal has to be alive still, right? Or dead? Which one is that?
So
It has to be alive.
Has to be alive. So you can't weigh it in.
You can.
I don't know if you did that.
You can weigh a dead fish,
Yeah, it's just
but
penalty.
it's a penalty.
Really? Did you know that?
No,
it's
what's the penalty on that?
Usually a pound.
Really?
Oh,
if it's
shit.
dead?
Per.
So you guys got to keep it alive, have your water.
Correct. Right.
Cooler.
You lose. Yeah. So it puts more responsibility. Of course, we try to make money off of them, so we wanted their health to be as good as
Right.
possible.
Yeah.
So, and that's why we were saying during the summer they go to that 3 fish a lot of
Right.
times, just because it's stressful on them.
So is for your live wells, is that pumping through the lake into that, or do you guys put some? I got you.
So your live wells, for people listening, you guys have essentially like a box or a cooler on your boat filled with water. So when you catch a fish, you put it in that, and it can swim around somewhat in there. And so whenever you weigh it, it's still alive.
So my live well is what 40 gallons probably.
40
I mean,
gallons.
it's arm's length deep, and then it's it's big
They
enough.
recirculate.
Yeah.
So it
They
recirculates.
They put oxygen into.
Oh, really?
Plus,
Wow.
they sell several different kinds of stuff you put in your water,
Right.
and what it does is it helps relax the fish. It's kind of a little
sedative
you know?
somewhat.
Yeah.
So when you say recirculate, do you guys have like a pump or something that pumps lake water in? That's crazy, because to a common person, you're thinking you guys are out there catching fish, you throw it in this cooler, and you throw in bait wherever. There's so much.
Oh, and that's
There's
why I
so
wanted
much
on,
to
because
this. Like,
I didn't know so much about it because like I said, I've been trying to get them, them on, and because us people have no
it's
idea.
just-
Like I don't know about the oxygen.
Nope.
I didn't know that they had to be alive. Didn't know. I
I
thought
thought
when
they
they put them on
caught-
the bag, they're dead.
Yeah, I thought they caught bass the entire time. I didn't
Yeah.
think about the trash fish,
Right.
anything. I mean, there's just so much to it.
Oh
that,
yeah.
I mean,
And what another thing too is, at y'all's level, and I seen it. Whatever the guy that won the bass for that young kid, what's his name? What the dude that
I
you remember?
can't remember, but yeah.
I love that because we're in the sports world, obviously, all of us, but I love it because it gives those kids
For sure.
that
Definitely. Yes.
think that we're just fishing off a dock
Yeah.
to somebody that just won what did he win, the Bassmasters or what?
Yeah.
The
How
top
old
of
was
the
he?
top?
19.
Just turned
19.
19.
Yeah.
he won the Bassmaster Classic.
No,
No, it was an elite series.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
$100,000.
Yeah.
Just for getting paid.
And for winning that, he makes the Bassmaster Classic.
Well, I bet he gets way more sponsors.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, for sure.
That's
He's
just the money.
sick.
I mean, he makes.
So, What's
so much more.
What are the levels of it? I mean, I know with every sport, there's, college and there's amateur pro, or there's minor league baseball. So what does it go from? I would like to classify myself as an amateur wrangler. Just fishing off a dock. Would that be correct?
Yeah.
Or just some guy
not off
fishing.
The dock, but yeah.
Well, I get my boat.
You're not amateur.
My paddle boat. I get out there.
Man.
Yeah. So what would be the bottom to the top, and where do you guys fall on that?
Yeah.
Okay, so from the dock where you
For
fish,
me,
that's the bottom.
So I'm at the top. Because didn't you say something about the fish
Listen,
being
I
at
was
the
gonna
bottom
act
of the
like I was
top?
gonna fish with you, but
I got my hat. I had to earn this by catching that catfish.
Never mind, I'm in with this, bro. You're out. All right, I'm gonna be at the what are we? AAA? What we at?
Exactly.
Okay, gotcha.
So
And this segment is brought to you by Twisted
By
Tea.
Twisted
Brought to you
I
by
am-
Twisted Tea.
Not sponsored.
Is there
by
another
them.
one in that
hey,
cooler?
yeah, we always got one.
It always is cold and keeps the bass at the top. Twisted Tea.
Anyone you get? Anyone you get?
You need one?
So yeah, go ahead with the
Yeah, what are the
divisions
levels?
Of it, levels of it, whatever they call it.
I mean,
I'm sure there's a ton.
it
It
starts
sounds
from
like there's a lot.
Like when we we're born. It's kind of in your blood. Like for me, I grew up fishing. I mean, that's all I wanted to do, no matter what.
Weekend Warriors.
Yeah.
Is
Yeah.
pretty
No
much
pun
what-
intended.
That's what you are.
Yeah.
No pun in his name.
You can't use my
No
word
first
though.
name. Weekend Ethan's
Come
is what
on,
I call
JJ.
it, you know.
Where's the?
Our sound guy JJ over there is kind of taking the night off.
Yeah.
But
Shout out to my son, JJ.
You know, and with the tournaments that we have around here, you can fish one that has 10 to 15 boats up to, some that has 300.
So if
And
they
it's
have
all
300
about payout
Okay.
and what your entry fee, and then pretty much.
So if they
what you
have
try to-
more boats,
It's
does that
higher
mean
level.
that's higher level?
yeah, that's what I was
Yeah.
thinking.
It's just more money, and it's
Right.
it's probably a little higher level, but
So
it's
the-
not. It's not like when it comes to like professional and amateur,
So it's kind of like the bull ride deal,
Yeah.
right? So I'm thinking
It's
the
like
money
PBR,
deal. Like if
CBR.
you're
like buckouts and stuff like that.
Yeah, yeah.
That's
Yeah.
more like us when it comes to like professional like actual rodeos or PBR
Yeah.
stuff. It's more of higher than what we are. So
gotcha.
it's going to be close to being pro or.
But it's
pretty
almost
much
like the
pro.
money deal, right? So I mean, I'm assuming that hey, like you said, Haney, if you have 300 or 400 more boats in there, obviously the purse is higher,
Right.
and the more of those that you're in the top 8, top 10, kind of leads you on to basic bigger things where maybe you might be that kid,
Right.
the elite series.
Yeah.
And so whenever that kid got there. Did he have to fish so many tournaments to get to elite series, or can you all fish in the elite series?
Yeah, is it like a
You have to
money?
qualify.
Qualify.
Yeah.
So what
How
does
do you
that entail?
qualify?
They have opens.
Opens.
Right.
Yeah.
So you have to be top 5, top 1 to qualify, or how's that work?
In points, or you have to win an open to qualify for
Gotcha.
the elites.
So and so points and qualifying can bump you up from, like, what level would you guys say? I mean, you're not amateurs. What
I
would
mean,
you? Or is
considered
it
as from pro to amateur, yeah, it's considered amateur.
so on a
Yeah.
like a professional fishing level? You guys would be amateurs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As opposed to like me, I'm a novice or an
You're just a
amateur.
fisherman. That's all
Yeah,
I
just
have to say.
so
Yeah,
a
yeah.
fisherman, and so you guys would be amateurs, and then you'd have to win so many tournaments or
Yeah.
to qualify to be a pro or like on the Bassmaster Series. And so with the points in like a tournament, could you guys kind of dive into that? Like you guys catch 3 to 5 fish or whatever they have at the tournament, and the points are based on like how much your bass weigh, and you get a certain amount of points coupled with if they're dead or alive.
How you actually
With
end up
place.
at the tournament. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
With
so it's
place.
over how many days, and you combine your points on those days?
How many tournaments?
Okay.
So we
See,
fish
I thought
one day
so, too.
tournaments.
Right. Most of ours are just a Saturday or a Sunday.
Okay.
You don't really get into fishing the the 2-day until the classics, till the end of the year. So most of ours we fish on a Saturday or a Sunday. If we fish a top 10, say we finish in the 5th and we get X amount of points for that event.
For how big your fish are, you get points.
Mostly just where you place in the tournament.
Gotcha.
So if we finish 5th, then we get like 50 points, and then that carries us to the next.
So what I was talking about is how do you get those points to place? Is it based on like if you have a 10-pound bass, is that like 10 points?
No.
No.
So how does that work? How do you place in a top 10 of a tournament? Is
So
it
the tournament is based on heaviest weight.
okay?
So I bring my 5 fish in. I have 20 pounds. If I win, that's I have the first place points.
Points. You
It
get
has nothing to do with the fish. It just
okay.
it has
So
the weight.
you get
Whatever has
placed
top
in
weight.
a tournament by pounds of
Yeah,
fish.
correct.
Okay.
Right,
Okay.
there you
Okay.
go.
Whoever's the highest weight wins the tournament.
And you
Okay.
also have, and I'm just by listening to you tell me these stories, is you also get the points, but you also get there's a big bass, right? Or is it so? Is that does that go to the points, or is that
Yeah.
just cash, or just
Cash.
or cash? Okay,
It's incentive money.
so it's in the
You-
money.
you
I
guys
mean, it
ever
helps
won-
on the pounds, but
You
I
guys
mean,
ever won the big bass?
yeah.
How big was the bass?
It just depends on. I mean, we've caught sevens and usually seven or
Mine was an 8-2.
yours 8.
oh, gee, that's
That's-
a
So,
monster.
yeah,
That's
what's
my,
a-
that's my PB, which is your personal best.
Yeah, yeah.
And I, happened to catch it in a tournament. Thank goodness.
That's
And,
awesome.
Yeah, we won
So-
the tournament. Plus we won.
Plus
the
you won the big
so,
bass?
Double
it
whammy.
adds to
So do you get all the money for the big bass, or you have to split it with this guy?
we always split. it
What
with
a
partner.
nice guy.
See,
What a
hey,
nice guy.
if you ever want January, February, March model,
Well, what's
Bass
the
Pros model, January,
Right.
February, March.
Bass Pro February.
what's the like? So what's an average pound? If people are listening, because I mean, all different animals you hunt. You're like, I got a big one, and you say some pounds, and people are at home are probably like, oh, what is that? Like, how big is that? Because I get a pound of hamburger meat at the store.
Yeah.
What? So what's the average pound of like a bass? Would you say are they usually like 3 pounds?
I would say if you can have 3 pounders, you're gonna place pretty much, wouldn't you say, in about every tournament. If you can have a solid, because you may have a 3.2 or a 3.4, but that's going to add up. So that's going to consistently get you about 17 pounds.
Yeah.
16 to 17. You're going to do.
So a 3 pound bass is like an adult bass.
Yeah.
It's a pretty average bass.
Yeah.
Pretty average bass.
So it really depends on So we're a lot different than like Texas lakes because they have a different program. Texas is completely different than
Okay.
Oklahoma because they take care of their fish a lot better than what we do.
Really?
Unfortunately.
So it varies a lot by state.
So they have a big bass program that you can only keep certain size bass in any tournament, or even if you want to keep it, period, because you have to catch it, and like now for the pros, they weigh it and release it right then.
Really.
I have no idea.
So they weigh it on the boat. Boom. Some
They have
official or
they have a
someone.
marshal there that will weigh it, write it down, and they'll release it right then. They don't want
Really?
want
They don't
people
want none
to
of this?
drive them around, and because it's stressful for the fish. And like you said, but when I first started fishing, it cost me a lot of money. I fished it with my cousin. We had 4 really good fish. Fish were fine all day, and we had to go all the way across the lake. It felt like we beat ourselves to death.
Yeah.
Get almost there, look in there, and 2 of our fish are almost dead.
Well, and so on that too, does it factor in with like the Texas lakes? Like they want you to throw it back because, like you said, it could be on like some eggs, or like some their nest, if you will. So they're like, we'll just toss it back because it's got to go down there and be back with its.
It's more or less of not stressing the fish out,
Yeah.
and because around here during spawn season, it does suck that they take them away from their nest.
Yeah.
Like right now, we could catch a 10 pounder, and it's could be protecting a big nest
Yeah.
of eggs. And the thing is, they lay a lot of eggs.
Yeah, I was
Very
saying,
rarely
yeah.
do a lot of them make it.
Yeah.
Right.
Because of course bait fish, everything else eats them.
That kind of goes like with the deer.
Yeah.
With it's the whole point of, and it's cool for me because I didn't know they did that with the fish, and they're taking care of it. Kind of like you're not, I'm not going to shoot that one. I'm not.
Yeah.
I'm going to, I want it to be all this.
It's a
There's
young
like a
buck.
strategy.
Yeah,
It's
on
like
there.
keeping them healthy and waiting and stuff. It's. But my thing, what I want to know is, you get what's a typical, like I know you said top 3, top 4, whatever. What's a big bag? What's not a normal, like something that you're going to be top 3 bag with weights? Are we saying 25 pounds, 20 pounds? Like what's a
Like a total catch
like
weight.
a total catch
Yeah.
weight?
I mean, if you've got a 20-pound bag around here, I think you've had a solid day.
Yeah.
You do the average.
Top 3. I mean, is
4
that
pounds.
kind of typical?
But then it just depends. I mean,
Like right now, you're gonna get big bags.
Yeah.
Oh,
I mean, like if I go with 20 pounds, I do not expect to win. I just
Really?
think I'm like,
Yeah.
I got a good bag, but anybody can bring in.
And that's what I want to know
Yeah,
because I mean, to me, a 2-pound bass is big to me. You know what I mean? Like I've seen,
Same.
but and then also going back to what you were talking about as far as taking care of the fish, and the Texas does it a little different. Is so why isn't Oklahoma there? Like, why is it? Is there like a different the way that they produce it, or
We
is
have a
it
different strain of fish
Yeah.
too.
Okay.
You know, they'll have a Florida strain down there, which typically
Gets
they
bigger.
get a little bit bigger.
Oh, okay, that makes sense.
It's more of a native strain here.
So there's a ton of different strains of bass.
I had no idea.
I thought there was just bass.
I did too. That's me too. That's a
And they have introduced. Was it last year they introduced them to Grand,
Yeah.
the Florida strain that
Really?
they're
Really?
trying to get them introduced. They had some 3 to 5 pounders that they released in throughout Grand, because Grand can be a heck of a lake. I mean
Yeah.
it can have one of those good record places, but
Yeah.
it just so much pressure. I mean,
Yeah.
from 3 weeks ago when we first started fishing our tournament. I mean, it has a tournament on every single weekend.
It gets
Really?
beat up.
Yeah.
I mean, it's what
And
they
it's really
call
hard
it. I
on the
mean,
fish.
yeah.
There's it just a ton of pressure.
Just like if somebody overplayed, like a golf course just got played a
Yeah.
major
Yep.
every weekend, it's just
Yep.
torn to
Yep.
shit.
Yeah.
Wow. Another thing that I've learned too, watching, I mean, like the Bassmasters and stuff, and I think it's so cool that they get to have a cameraman on there because I get to learn of
yeah.
what they're doing.
Right.
But so they can't keep more than 5 fish in a live well, right? So they have to replace. So
Call
if
it
they,
calling.
Cole.
Call what?
They call it calling
Okay.
fish out.
Okay.
Calling?
Calling.
Cole. Yeah.
Call.
Culling, Cull.
Yeah. Yeah, so you have 5 fish and your smallest is 1.5 pounds and you just catch one that's 2 pounds. So we've got little cull markers that we can put on the fish that tells us, it's all about time too.
Denote the
you
weight
know.
or whatever.
Yeah, so we know which is our smallest one from our scales. We can pull that one right out and then put the other one on.
Throw it in.
Dang.
Yeah.
That's
And
crazy.
so for the pros, you can't make a cast once
Right.
you've got a 6 fish that you need to call out. So if you think you have, or if you forget you have a 5 fish and you throw one in there, it's got 6 fish and you make one cast, you have to throw away your biggest fish.
Oh.
So
That would
that's the
suck.
rule, and it's happened to
Get your
some.
penalty.
Really?
Yeah, it's happened to some of the best out there. And
Do you guys ever like have quite a few and you catch one and you're like, I gotta save some room. I'm gonna throw this little one out right away. Or do you look in your well first?
So usually we try to get 5 keepers, period,
Yeah.
regardless how big they are.
Yeah.
And then, like you said, we use that calling system. And we'll use either a balance beam or we'll do an actual weigher, something to weigh it
If
with.
you have
and
two that are, brothers, you can put them on a balance beam, and it looks like a hanger
Yeah.
with a little
Oh,
middle
Little
hook.
scale on it.
Yeah.
You clamp them, and then
Gotcha.
it balances to
Yeah.
see which one. I mean, because sometimes it's by ounces.
It's ounces.
I mean,
I've missed
it's a
so much
game of
money
ounces.
Really?
Yeah.
from like 5.
Yeah.
5 ounces and under. I've lost so much money from first to
Yeah,
second.
when you come to me, like when you're talking, I always ask, hey, how'd the tournament go and how'd it go? You're like, I lost by an ounce.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
what I mean?
Crazy.
And
And
it-
you're talking thousands
Thousands of
of
dollars.
that
And
you're
it's-
losing.
again, it kind of goes back to what we were all
Yeah.
on the sports of the bull riding, missing, making that
9
95 ride,
yeah.
94. It's but to me, I don't think that they're just amateurs, right? I mean, I've seen a lot of guys watching them. I think to me they're professionals.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I know they're
Yeah.
calling themselves, and they have people that have, they get to go to professional level. But to me, I think they're
I think
Oh,
we
yeah.
say that too because we have day jobs. It's not
Well,
our
sure.
it's not our career.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, we love the competitive side, and we love to be out there on the weekends, but we don't do it full time.
Right.
I think that's kind of maybe the break.
I don't
too.
think
Yeah.
that we're the best fishermen around, but I feel like that we can hang with, and we have hung with
Yeah.
some. There's pros that'll come back home and jump in some of our tournaments, like Jason Christie. He started in Oklahoma. He killed it forever and ever and ever,
phenomenal fisherman.
and now he's one of the top in the nation. And we fished against him. He'll
Yeah.
come back to 10 killer. He lives at 10 killer,
Yeah.
so we fish against him, and it's just cool being able to stick with people like that.
Man, and I know
Yeah.
people that fish against you guys. I mean, I talk to them, and they both have spoke highly of you. And they're like, man, those are 2 great fishermen, and they know their shit, and they compete with the best. I mean, you told me, it's like you can't say it's not fair that a Jason Christie's coming back, right? To me, I know both of y'all really well, so the competitiveness will come out. It's like,
Yeah.
I'm going to beat his ass.
Yep.
Listen, come over here. Let me, not saying that you do.
Right, but
yeah,
that competitive fire.
Yeah, I mean, just saying, what can I do to beat that cat? Whatever he has to do the same thing that I have to do.
Yeah.
Whether he might know.
And I love that feeling whenever they know, like we'll roll up to the ramp, and there's guys standing around. They know that.
You guys about to drop that boat in.
I mean, we can handle it. So
Yeah.
that's what I love. I like that they know that it's either me or him or my other partner. They know we're rolling up and. We're going to be somewhere up there because
it's Keith, right?
Yeah.
What's his name?
Keith Allen.
Keith Allen.
Yeah.
I've heard a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
I've never met him.
Yeah, I mean,
but I've heard a lot of great
too.
things.
I mean, Haney, it's crazy because, like you said, you fish with your strengths. Haney is a crazy good finesse fisherman, and I love to power fish. That's why we fish so
What's
good
the
together.
difference?
Yeah.
So
when you say finesse,
Yeah.
I'm thinking about how good looking he is.
well, yeah, of course, you got
I mean,
to
I'm talking about what we're talking
I thought he
about
was
over
a
there.
fire fisherman knocking on that mayfly nest. Dang.
No,
But,
the fish will get, like I said, they get pressured, so they see a ton of different baits. So sometimes you have to downsize.
Yeah.
And that's kind of my specialty.
Yeah.
Whenever they can get kind of finicky, then I can sometimes catch them a little bit better.
Yeah.
David, I mean, he's an awesome power fisherman.
Still don't know what's power fish.
flipping
Bigger.
docks.
flipping
diving in and grabbing 'em?
big rod, big line, big bait usually.
Yeah.
And it's and that's what's so cool about it. I mean, he's gonna catch a lot more fish, but he's gonna catch small fish, but he's gonna catch big fish
Yeah.
because they want that same deal.
Yeah.
And usually I'm gonna catch small fish too, but when you're power fishing, you're trying to get that one good
That big boy.
good bite.
So you're like a power hitter.
Yeah, and that's
You're gonna get on base, hit for average.
and I mean
kinda
he
thing.
can fill our live well in 10 minutes, and I'm trying to get one good bite.
Big boy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Well, that's awesome. It sounds like a perfect tandem.
yeah.
It is.
Yeah.
It's
I mean-
really worked well. I mean, because he's picking up one thing, and I'm kind of. I see something that he picks up, so I'll flip gears and go to something different. So,
Yeah.
I mean, we've kind of always got two different baits in the water. Unless something is you're just zoned in on the bait.
Yeah.
And I have that. I have one bait in the next
It's
month
your
or
honey
so.
hole. It's
I
your-
will. That's the only thing I'll throw. I mean,
Really?
And being confident in what you're throwing is huge.
yeah.
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 Huge. I mean, something that you know that you can catch a fish on. It's just something about it that it's.
It's like to me it sounds like it's almost like the difference in fishing and like confidence and like anything you do in life. If you have more confidence about it, but then you talk about fishing and you're like, well, it's a line and it's bait and it's a rod, but it's like the difference between me having zero confidence in fishing, throwing a line out and not knowing what I'm doing, not knowing how to set it, not doing anything, and then one of you guys throws one in and you guys know exactly what you're doing, the confidence, and you pull one out and I'm like, what the hell's the difference?
And I would tell you
That's
that makes
like
a big
crazy
difference.
to think about, because you guys put that line in with all that confidence and you know what you're doing, and it's
Because I've watched him catch fish after fish after fish, and I'm like, hey bud, I need one of those baits. And so I put this bait on, and I can't catch crap, man.
Yeah, and that's crazy too. The competitiveness, like, I love, because let's say you got, and I'm just going off of what I've seen on TV. Let's say you have, you're so far away from the boat ramp where you have to weigh in, and you catch a fish, a big boy, and it feels like it, and you're sitting there, trying to, and it's the finesse of it. I see on TV, it's like, they're like, oh my God, don't drop, to get to the weigh-in. Because there's certain time you can't miss the weigh-in, right? You have to be
is there
there.
a time limit? You got to be there at like 5 p.m.
Yeah.
And if you got one, you got to book ass.
So tomorrow it's 7 to 3 for me, and are you 3:30?
3:30 tomorrow.
Yeah. So you have to be there before 3, checked in, because if every minute after it's pound.
Right.
Pound.
No way.
Yeah.
A pound per minute?
Yes.
Not an
So
hour?
you're not- right. So
No.
So that deadline is tight ass.
It is.
That's like seconds.
And and I've seen this too. I've seen this
Golly.
too, where you can't, when you go to, and I learned this, if you go to, like, let's say a boat dock, and you cannot get out of your boat and get onto the boat dock to fish. You got to stay in your boat.
Yeah.
Or it's a penalty. You get down pounds. Well, I've also seen this guy was on his 5th fish and he hooked a big one, and he threw it over there in the boat dock and it was hung up. So
He got out.
the camera guy, he's like, listen, he goes, I got to get out. He goes, this is. So he was taking the penalty for, I don't know, what is it if you get on a.
So that's a different type of thing. They can do that because
different format.
Yeah.
Oh, is it okay?
Yeah.
In the tournament.
Okay.
Yeah.
We can't get out of our boat and go get a fish.
Okay.
That's not part of our format.
Okay, this is like.
It's illegal or it's
Something
not
else.
okay.
Yeah. So he got out. He ended up winning the tournament because he was.
Get out.
Yeah, because he's.
They give him like a 3 minute,
Yeah, that's what
3 minute
threw-
penalty.
Yeah.
Right.
So they got him out, and he was like, "I got it." And then he's talking to the camera guy. He said, "I don't give a shit. What's my penalty?" So he ended up calling.
Yeah.
He hooked a huge one, right?
Yeah.
Got him in. He ended up calling. What do they call the marshal? The
Yeah.
guys called the marshal and said, "Hey, listen, just want to let you know, I got off the dock." I mean, so and going into that, do you guys have? I hate saying cheaters. Is that like
Yeah,
the
'cause
thing?
it-
Is that like people that get off the butt? Like, do you have?
Well, it's almost like golf. Like it's like I feel like
Dropping another ball or
it's self-reporting.
Yeah.
If you do something, the ball moves. You can either say, I don't know if I should tell people the ball
Yeah.
moved when I pick this leaf up because that's a stroke.
Yeah.
But it's like it's on the person to be honest. Is
Right.
that how it is
Yeah.
there? And is
It's
that
supposed, like I said, it's all it's supposed to be.
It's on your honor system.
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
all the system
I
for
think
sure.
if we have
Self-referee.
somebody that's not kind of obeying, I think it would be the person that starts before your start time.
Right.
Yeah.
really?
You
Yeah.
know? Yeah.
So honor start is what we do, and like tomorrow we could be there at 7 waiting for 7 to hit, and look over and be somebody already fishing that you know
No
that.
way.
Yeah.
Do you guys report them,
I mean,
or is it kind of like that thing where it's like I don't be the asshole?
Yeah,
It's
I mean-
an honor system, and that guy should report it.
you know,
I'm
when
not
it
gonna
comes
be the
down to like
snitch,
bigger
kinda.
money, I mean, you know, we're fishing for a couple $1,000,
Yeah.
but
Yeah, but if
when-
it was like
if it was like our
$100,000
big,
purse,
nickels or something like that, you're fishing for a boat. I mean, it's not.
yeah, you're like, hey,
Yeah.
which I get. Yeah, it's like we're playing softball. It's like
Yeah.
we're playing for a t-shirt.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not gonna report these guys for not having an active roster.
Yeah.
But if we're all if they're giving all of us a car,
Yeah.
100%,
Yeah.
I'm
Oh,
turning
yeah.
that guy in.
Well, and
Yeah,
two
so
is,
it's levels
this,
to it.
This is what I figured out, and I didn't even know that this was a thing. So they have different leagues, right? Like not leagues, or what they call them, leagues, or
Well, I
like,
mean, different like
Just
clubs and
different
leagues.
Clubs,
tournament
yeah.
trails.
so they have like club
Right.
deals. Like
Yeah.
they have a nickels, and they have different stuff
Yeah.
where they fish. Is there different rules per that, or is that kind of all
Same rules that go
deal?
across the board.
Oklahoma, it's usually the same
for
rules.
the
Same
most
deal.
part.
Yeah.
One thing I want to go back to is like the time limit. You have to be basically at the dock, the finish line, by 3 o'clock. But is there a line when you get in and it's like it's 2:57? Is it when your boat touches the ramp, or is it like I have to get out of the boat, go check in with an official, and wait in line to get weighed, and then the time stops? So you have to be there maybe at 2:40 because
Yeah.
there's going to be a 10-minute line.
Correct.
Or is it when you hit the dock, it's as long as you're there by 3?
Some tournaments are ran differently. A lot of times, if it's ran right, there will be a boat that's out in the water in the middle of the cove as you're coming in, and you check in that way.
Okay, so as soon as you pass that boat or whatever,
Yeah,
you're
you're
flagging down.
You give them your
And
number.
he's like, okay, he's here by 2:59. This guy's good.
Yes.
Okay.
So if you know the tournament's ran that way,
Yeah.
you've got a little cushion.
you got a
You've
little. You can reel it in,
little
or you can.
leeway.
I got 2 more minutes.
Correct. Because we've caught fish, we've got 4 fish and we need 1 more.
Yeah.
You burn it down to every
the wire.
last second to try to catch number 5.
Yeah.
So if you've got a tournament that you know that there's going to be a check boat out there, then it gives you a little bit more freedom.
How far out of the
Some-
check boats?
Do what?
How far out of the check boats usually? Like, are they like?
So they'll usually right at the no wake area. So
Okay,
when you're coming
okay.
in, you can
Come in.
shut it down.
It's pretty
and then
close.
idle
Pretty
by.
close,
Yeah.
Okay.
Some tournament trails you have to actually park, walk up to.
Tomorrow we have to do that.
Really?
Yes.
You gotta
You
walk
gotta-
all the way up there, find the official. Hey, we're here.
Yes.
So your alarm goes off a little earlier.
Yes.
For
so
going
you better play at
Yeah.
least 15 minutes.
Yeah.
Just so you can get in, because then you got the idle only. You got
Yeah.
no wake
no
in
wake
there.
area.
Get parked, get out. And
Oh, geez.
and get checked
And
in.
there's plenty of
So-
people that come in at time to check in,
Running
and
up
they
there.
are running.
Really?
Yeah.
I mean,
Right.
as fast as they can.
Trying to get
Look
that
at it.
last fish or something.
Well,
you
just
guys-
to get checked in because they're worried about getting
If you guys need a guy that can sprint, I'm your guy.
Yeah, definitely.
Just give me the ticket. I'm running. Usain Bolt. I set alarm and it triggered a question I had for you guys. This is what my grandma used to tell me, and I don't know if it's an old wives' tale or not, or she just wanted quiet time. When we're fishing, they're always like, "Hey, you gotta be quiet. You're gonna scare the fish." Was that just my grandma just wanting me to shut the hell up, or is that like an actual thing? Like if you're on a boat and you're making noise, is that gonna scare fish away?
Right now it is.
I knew she wouldn't lie to me.
But here's my question though. I love your grandma. But what's the wine right now? Like what wasn't?
Yeah, what's the difference?
Yeah.
I mean, it's a lot more because they get pressure when it comes down to. But right now the fish are really shallow, and your boat is close. I mean, when it's shallow, you can hear everything. If you ever get underneath the water,
shutting boxes,
jumping down,
cooler,
the fish can hear all that and it can scare them away.
Oh yeah, for sure.
So it's not just water contact.
No,
correct.
Those suckers can hear. I mean, obviously, I feel like the vibration thing would be a deal. But if you guys, when you fish, silence.
And I mean, we talk and stuff like that, but it's not. But you can tell, like when we got the forward-facing sonar, which is live scope. Yeah. We went to where did we go? That's so clear. Was it Hartwell? We could see the fish. So there's sonars that you can reach out there a lot farther. If you got within 40 foot of the boat, they can see your boat. They can see your boat. And they can see the shadow. They're gone.
Really?
Like they'll follow their bait all the way in. As soon as they get 40 to 50 foot, gone.
No way.
So they actually make a unit now that attaches to your trolling motor that drops in the water, and it's a speaker. Well, the speaker is attached to, it's a hydrowave, and the hydrowave has several different settings like frenzy shad or crawdad, and it plays in the water.
No way.
To cover up. One, I think it covers up your sound, but it actually will affects like the bait fish.
Really?
So we've pulled up and you put it, you turn it on, and the bait fish will actually start to.
Yeah, well, you talk about the equipment stuff that you've seen, especially on Warrior's boat. They have these, which is not, back in the days, it's like boat, get out there. Now they have like, what are those level deals on the back?
Power poles?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have you seen those?
No, I have not.
So they're
deep sea fishing.
A lot of people call them like cricket legs.
Yeah.
They look like.
So what? And tell me if I'm wrong. So if they go into shallow level, they look literally their poles sticking
They're
way
8
higher.
foot.
Yeah, 8 foot higher than them.
When they extend, there's 8 foot poles and there's 10 foot poles.
So if you go towards, like, let's say a shallow area, I guess you pull your trolling motor up and
you don't even do that. I mean, if you're in 8 foot of water or below, you can hit the button and it's like an anchor is what they call it.
Yeah.
It just sets it down there and sticks it in the
2
ground.
feet, drop it down.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah. And it'll
It's
just stop you
crazy.
right
That
there.
just stops your boat right there.
Right. So, I mean, it's key if you're fishing one certain spot, one brush pile, or say you've found a fish that's on a bed and you're in the shallow water, you don't want to be on your trolling motor. Right. You anchor down, and it keeps that wind from blowing your front end or pushing you into the bank.
That's awesome.
That is.
So you don't have to constantly mess with the trolling motor.
Correct.
Just get off of it and stand.
Which I'll try to define this one. Trolling motor, for those listening, is at the front of the boat. There's a little pedal, and there's a little fan or a motor underneath the water. It looks like a fan. Yeah. And when you press on it, it can go left or right or whatever.
The fan turns.
The fan turner. Yeah. And that would stabilize your boat. But now they have these deals, these giant pole anchors, so you don't even have to mess with that.
Yeah.
That's why I got carpal tunnel in my ankles, because I was always fishing on it.
Definitely.
And you need to send me a link for that speaker, because if it's waterproof, I need to take that on the river, the Illinois River, so I can dunk that thing down, play music underwater, baby.
Listen, you're underwater a lot.
That's right. But I keep the beer up. Man, yeah, all the technology and everything. Did you guys ever think, like, going back to, like, your roots of fishing? Because you guys are, reeling in these big bass, and you guys seem like you say things on the boat without talking. Like if you're power fishing and you're finesse fishing, and you guys kind of know, you don't have to speak to each other. You pick up on what he's doing, and you pick up on, which is like awesome, like chemistry between yourselves. Yeah. And like whenever you were younger, did you ever think like getting into fishing that you would ever have the technology or whatever you guys are doing now? Way back then when you were just probably fishing from a pond bank And with that, like, what kind of got you guys and fueled you guys to get into fishing? Because I know whenever I was younger, I was playing baseball. I was playing, sports, soccer, and it developed a passion for it. And there's nothing like hitting the sweet spot on a baseball bat for me. You feel that rip, and you're like, man, that felt good. So was there, like, when you were younger and you caught your first fish or your first big fish where you're like, man, this is, like, where I want to go with this? Was there a moment like that? And how early did you guys start to feel that?
So for me, I live, kind of, it's not much in the country now because as much as it's grown around there.
Yeah.
So we had 2 ponds. I call it the front pond and the big pond, which is the big pond's in the back. Growing up, when I was old enough to go, well, before I could go by myself, my dad always went down there. He'd be down there, fishing in the pond. And so I always wanted to go because I always wanted to, hang with my dad.
Yeah.
And so he really got me into it, and I started going by myself. And I got where I would catch a big fish, and I had to show somebody. I'd be down by myself all the time. And so that pond is probably a half a mile from my house. And I would run every day that I caught a big fish. I'd run from there all the way home and say, you got to come see this fish.
Yeah.
And I always would forget something, forget a stringer or something. So I always had to make some type of stringer. And I'm like, it better be there when I get back. There's been times that it's, got away.
Yeah. Well, your family, your family's awesome. I know them, pretty well and stuff. Yeah. And it's like, shout out to Pops, not, taking away from Mom, but it's it's that whole dynamic of, especially not even saying what he went through, but it's kind of cool of how you're representing him out there on the boat. Yep. You know what I'm saying? Like, I always say, and Big E, I don't know if you know, we're about to wrap Warrior's boat, and we have, cancer sucks on his boat, and so he does a lot of stuff for Pops, and then going back to his daughter, Chris's daughter, man, and I hate even bringing it up. She shot one of the biggest bucks probably you and I have ever seen in our life.
I ain't got one yet. Thanks for bringing it up.
Yeah, I don't say it either. So and I'm kind of pissed off about that. When I see her, I'm gonna bring it up. But is that something? Does she want to do that, or is she sticking to the hunting part, or what is that?
So we actually fish a tournament trail together. So it's
that's cool.
It's a his and hers tournament. So it's a lot of husband wives, but one party has to be male and the other party female. Right. So we started doing it a couple of years ago, and it was just to give us something else to do together. She loves to fish, but then when she realized if we won, she won money. Yeah. She
got serious.
She was sold.
Yeah.
So
she's competitive. I seen her. There's nothing really cooler. You have to go look it out. it's. Or both of them, David Warren and stuff on their social media because, he has his pops and his family on there and it's tight knit and, he was there the whole time when she shot her first deer and she's like shaking, like going, oh my God. You look at the videos, man, it just gives you chills. But going back to the sports thing it's a family deal on fishing. Yeah. You know what I mean? It's
you catching it with your pops, running home to tell him and that got you into it. Now you're with your daughter and everything, and is that something when you were young? You had a similar story with your dad, and
same. My dad would always take me fishing, and then my papa, I'd go and stay with them some during the summer, and it was not a matter of how many farm ponds we had. It was and we would we got these things called catawba worms, and they come on. Yeah, they come on a catawba tree.
You guys import those from China, or what?
And my papa and I that was
the wonder why they're angry.
That was the bait, So we would drive around until we found a tree that had these catawba worms. So that was kind of part of the experience.
Yeah, it's the whole deal. the all-powerful Catawba
Yeah,
worms. Where do we
right.
go, Papa?
And you could catch, catch anything on a Catawba worm
We got to cut
perch,
this out. Sounds like that's y'all
catfish,
secret.
bass. It was.
That's awesome. Well, and that's such a cool thing too. Is like a young boy, like your grandpa or your dad showing you this, and you're like, we gotta find those.
Yeah.
And he's like, let's go look over here. I know there's a good tree, and like, man, that's such a cool feeling too. I mean, I didn't fish a ton, but at my grandma's pond and stuff, she knew some spots where we could go look at like frog eggs, or she was like, over here, this is what I use, this bread with this or whatever.
Yep.
And it, like, as a young kid, you're like, man, this is the world.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
this is so cool. And, you know, and you, like, that's cool too. What a name, the Catawba worm.
For me, it wasn't. Like, my dad's like, go flip that cow patty over and get that worm out of there. I'm like, I ain't getting no cow patty. What the hell's wrong with you?
That's kind of like my grandpa. I mean, the last memory I had of my grandpa and grandma is, and they got to laugh. That was the thing, kind of like Pops's. They had a pond back there that was 4 feet all the way around, and he was like, "All right, what I want you to do is throw in these waders, and we're gonna throw some top water." And they have big bass in there. So, all right. Me and my cousin go around there. I put on these waders, and then I see both my grandma and grandpa look at me, and they're just watching me. And I'm fishing, and then my cousin goes, "Why the hell are they watching us? Like they're waiting for something to happen?" Well, they didn't tell me about beaver trails that are in the pond, and there's some bitches are this deep.
Oh yeah.
And I'm like looking up there, so I was like walking, I casted, and then I went from head all the way up in my waders and
like at
shit.
the river.
I'm like, I could have died out there. And then I look up, and they're laughing. My grandpa's hitting his hat on his knee, and he's like, "Oh my God, it's the funniest thing ever." That was the last
Flipping
bit.
in there. Yeah, that's, some stuff like that. I just don't fish. They're too slimy. When I was younger. I was like, they're all slimy. And, well, out of the fishing you guys do, I'm sure you guys do a lot of recreational fishing too. Because all those bass and everything, you guys return those to the water. What's your favorite?
Catch and release on the bass.
Yeah, on the bass. Other stuff you keep and eat? Maybe
David's
not at tournaments.
a really good crappie fisherman, so.
I love me some crappie fish.
He has not cooked for me once.
He won't let dude.
He never will.
Catch it and eat it.
Listen,
want
I'll
it,
catch
gotta
you.
be
You
there.
won't let me fish with you. I can't catch
Well,
you.
you come hang out later.
Hey, I can't fish with him. I can't hunt with him. He won't invite me anywhere. Maybe it's because I'm friends
Hey,
with
I'll
you.
come to work. Hang out there.
Yeah, come on. Oh, one of our producers. We got a brand new
He's
intern.
been drinking.
Yeah, that's gonna make the podcast. What do you think the best fish to eat is? I've had.
For me, crappie. My family.
Crappie or walleye?
My family.
What about catfish?
Oh, that's kind of your typical. I think you get your crappie or your walleye.
That's
kind
more of
your
a
delicacy type.
fish.
Yes.
And do you have to because I know you guys go through deboning them maybe, or
Filleting them, yeah.
filleting them,
Yeah.
and everything, and is that the what you said crappie is probably the best?
Yeah, my family, just like you said, I grew up crappie fishing. It was that's how I learned how to fish, really.
Yeah.
My dad loved to crappie fish. My grandma would always tell me about my grandpa. He was really well known to crappie fish. There's a heated dock that he would go to every year in Eufaula, and even though men, they knew about him. And after I got to going so much, I would go there by myself. And so I got to know the old men, and like I said, but every time I'd catch a mess of crappie, I'd bring it home, clean them, and we eat them that night.
Do they have crappie tournaments?
Yeah.
They do.
Oh, they do.
Yeah.
Do you get to keep
Local
those
stuff?
and eat them?
I don't know if they keep theirs. I don't think they do
I
they?
think they're catch and releases.
Go ahead.
Well, what do you guys think about a thing I've seen in the news and on social media? What do you guys think about dishwasher fish? You ever
I don't
seen
know what
that?
that is.
For catfish?
No, well, people will have fish, and these people I think are crazy. I would never cook anything in a dishwasher, but they put them in foil and they cook them in the dishwasher because it steams them.
Yeah.
And they're like, it's perfect. And I'm like, I don't know if I'd try that.
Yeah.
But
I
I don't know
like
if
mine
it
deep
burns.
Listen, there's a reason why
But-
now I know why they ain't inviting me
But maybe
fishing.
I say
That's why you had
maybe,
the hat on. It's like
maybe we open up, call it old dishwasher, and you go down there and we cook everything in 100% gluten-free
That's
dishwashers.
negative.
So another thing too is, and I love doing this, man. I've only done it a few times, but do they have spoonbill? tournaments?
No,
No
tournaments.
tournaments.
Oh, no tournaments.
No.
So, and tell me if I'm wrong. I think the dude I was with lied to me, but those are. Have you ever been spoonbilling before?
Yeah.
All the time. Yeah.
All the time. I went yesterday.
Remember my catfish? Remember that catfish?
Anyways,
All the time.
you have a treble hook that's huge with a huge anchor on it,
Yeah.
or not, what do you call it?
Yes,
sinker.
Big sinker on the end, and then your hook is here.
Yeah.
So it
You're
keeps
snagging.
it weighted on the bottom,
Okay.
Yeah.
and then you're yanking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we went to Shoto Bend. He's like, all right, Mo, here's the deal. And you got these big ass poles, dude. I mean, they're what?
Big
So
old surf
you
rods.
throw it out there, and then you let it hit the bottom, and then you reel, and then you jerk.
Yep.
Reel and jerk, and you snag them.
Yeah.
Well, then finally, so I guess that is the one that makes, what is it, caviar? Or what are they?
So they have those, and then the sturgeons have the.
So that's
Yeah.
it's a true statement that those spoonbill, because we caught 2 or 3 of them. We want to give a shout out to Haley.
Our producer,
Our
our
producer.
veteran
Yeah,
producer.
yeah.
Yeah, not our interim.
Yeah, she
Intro
came
producer.
in with no,
JJ.
no light camera action.
We
But
got-
what about
we got-
alligator gar? You
I mean,
guys
they-
fish those a lot?
Shoot
They
'em
just
with a
shoot
bow.
them. They don't.
Bowfish?
Yeah.
You guys running and oh man, what about the invasive species?
It's coming.
What? Because they're
And they're
Is it
catching
for real?
them.
what is the fish that's
It's
an
the-
invasive species?
It's the buffalo or
Japanese carp.
Japanese carp.
Japanese
carp.
carp.
Do you think people introduce that to just be assholes? Like, how do those even
I
get
think
in
it's
lakes?
just not knowing
Well,
what
and,
the
and
effects
nobody
are gonna
knows.
cause.
Nobody. It seems like anybody that brings up carp is like nobody loves. Why is that? They just nasty
Think
fish, or like what? I mean, like
they
nobody
just take
likes.
over an
bony.
ecosystem.
Huh?
I
They're
think-
very bony.
Oh
Yeah,
really?
we're
Is
bony,
that what it is?
right? And they're eating stuff off the bottom. I mean, they're trash.
Oh,
Kinda
bottom
trash
feeders
fish.
kind of deal. Yeah.
Right. So
I love that term, trash fish.
Trash fish.
I've
Yeah.
met some of those,
It is
but
not your new one with that's pregnant.
no, I was talking about other things. But
Oh, okay, I got more fault. Shout out to Kenzie. She's not here usually.
Yeah.
She's watching our dog.
she's usually a producer, but she got work tonight. She's trying to put bread on the table so I can fish with it.
Exactly.
You ever ball up, you chew on bread, and use it as bait?
mhm.
Yeah, is that good bait?
Oh, that's like the old. That's catfish, right?
I don't know.
I
Big
used
ass
to
shit.
catch-
What's wrong with
You
y'all?
chew on it. Is that not? You
No,
put
no,
it-
no.
I mean that
Carp
shit,
and-
man.
No, I didn't know you said chew.
Yeah, you put it in your mouth. you
No,
ball
hell
it up,
no.
you chew on
Nobody's
it,
done
put it
that
on.
shit before.
That's why I'm so
I'm
successful at fishing.
Exactly.
That's,
That's
Mo.
what
that's a carp.
The
specialty.
professionals are
I
getting
got
out there.
this at a tournament.
Here
You
it comes.
By the way.
yeah, exactly. They were giving away because it's Oklahoma State
showed
football.
up.
Tell
I
them
showed
all
up
your-
to
No
cheer
pun
them on.
intended.
And as soon as I walked up, they hauled ass. I was like, oh, they must be how the shotgun start.
I gotcha.
Man, yeah, but so it's an invasive species and they're just nasty fish, or is it because they like kill other fish and take over the whole ecosystem?
They eat her. I think they eat eggs and all that stuff. So I don't.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's not. They're eating everything. It takes away from, if they eat the moss, the plankton, all stuff like that. It takes away from your bait fish. Takes
Yeah.
away from all that stuff.
It
so.
destroys kind of messes.
And
with
they
the whole flow.
overtake
Right, for
everything. And there's like they're not just a few here and there. You're talking thousands.
Cheers.
Well, this came out of nowhere. I don't know how.
Thank you
guys
to
wanna-
our
Yeah.
Where'd
producer.
that come from?
Cheers. What is
No.
a good fisherman's cheers?
We might
Here's to boats. Here's to lines. Here's to the shots. We do when we have time.
I like it. Rip the lips.
Yeah, come on.
Rip the
So good,
lips.
I was looking at Warrior. He was like, "Where's he going?"
Yeah, where's it going?
I'm just waiting for something
One thing
inappropriate to come out of you.
Never. I'm a
Yeah, it's
G-rated
always
guy.
on.
You know.
One thing I want to get into is like, say, outside of Ethan, me, if I want to be fishing, it just like golf. I love golf. I'm still waiting on Haley to buy me some golf clubs. But
Shout out to TaylorMade.
GoPro
Shout
still
out
on
to
there, right?
Ping.
yeah, so
Shout out to this Twisted Tea.
Twisted
I
Tea,
don't
baby.
know that I've
Twisted
ever really
Tea.
had Twisted Tea, but
Twisted Tea.
Check.
this is really
Yeah,
good.
yeah. So, anyways,
It is
so
really good. It goes down smooth.
listen, going back to the golf deal, fishing is an expensive sport. I've seen these boats,
Yeah.
and I can tell you this.
Yeah.
I mean, I seen a thing over there, and it was seriously there was like an $80,000 bass boat.
Oh yeah.
That's- What are we doing over here?
Shout
We're
out to our
tired.
producers.
Do we need to stop? What do we need to do?
Hold on, our producer.
go.
One
Go
of
ahead,
them
hit that.
jumped out of the window.
Oh,
We're just
we're-
exchanging
oh,
batteries
good.
on that one.
Good. So, anyways, I know it's expensive. I've seen boats, and there's phenomenal boats. I've seen
Yeah.
Warriors, I've seen yours. It is, what is is it like an average boat? Is it like if
Like
I want to get
60,000,
started, is it like a
50,000?
$40,000 to $100,000 boat, or is there like, what is it? Am I not even close to it?
40 would be awesome, but it's not
Right.
feasible to have.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
if you want to buy a used,
We're out.
Then-
That's what I'm saying. We're out. You're
We're
about to have a
out.
baby.
Yeah,
I'm looking for golf clubs.
Trying to build one.
You're out. You
Yeah, I mean,
understand?
we can get some wood together and get you out there.
What, and how
styrofoam.
expensive the technology in the boats are.
Mm.
I have a question, and I want to know if people still fish like you guys fished when you were kids with no technology, just thrown out. Is there like a specific tournament called like the Old Timers Tournament or something?
there is.
That people go out and it's
Really?
like no technology, natural.
Is that like a Bill Dance, Jimmy Houston, like the old timer?
No,
old
they all
timer?
use that, man. Like I said,
Yeah, you still have.
they've
I mean, are
talked
those-
about having.
And,
Are those guys still alive?
oh, yeah.
Bill Houston, really?
Yeah.
Do they fish?
Jimmy
tournaments?
Houston on them?
Yeah.
Oh, well, I don't think they fish anymore, do they?
I mean, no,
Yeah.
not competitively,
Yeah.
but
Right.
you know, they've
Yeah.
made their mark, and they're
Yeah.
still.
Yeah.
Because they were
Right.
like, I mean, when I was growing up, Jimmy Houston and Bill Dance were like that's what made me go to ponds.
You know,
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's
50s when, back
yeah,
when
yeah,
you was growing up.
1950s.
Old ass.
Well, have you guys ever gotten whooped by in a tournament where you can use technology?
Yeah.
Have you seen guys like some old hats go out there and just fish with none of that and just whoop everyone's ass?
Definitely.
Like
Really?
just go out there and use like they've been fishing for 1,000 years and everyone's got all this fancy stuff and they just go out there and like we're just gonna fish our asses.
Yeah, you got bank beaters, and
Bank beaters.
personally,
your new
I will
nickname.
always be a
Bank
bank beater. Yeah,
Hey,
I mean,
JJ,
Tiger
we got a new nickname for
Bank
E.
beater.
Bank beater.
you know,
We got Bo Chatter with Bank Beater E coming at you with a double LBC.
That's another name for gold digger right there. She's an old bank beater.
Hey,
Sure, though.
Dr. Haney just came up with a Bank Beater.
I'm going to get in my hat. It says Bang Beater.
and I will wear it till I die. But it
What's
it's
a bank?
true.
What's
I mean,
a bank beater? They
It's
just
it's throwing. It's not looking at your electronics. You may look at your depth, but you're pitching like David. That you're flipping wood, flipping
Whoa.
bushes, flipping
Flip
docks.
that wood
Oh, we
out
I mean,
back to
I
the
would
bank
much
beater?
rather do that than
Yeah.
sit there and stare at a screen to see if a fish whether or not it's going to bite or not.
that's the type
and you
of
can
fishing I'd be in.
Yeah,
A bank beat.
you would for sure be a
You
Bank
definitely
Beater.
would fit in.
I would love to get to a
Beating the
tournament
bank.
and just beat the hell out of a bank and whoop your ass. And they're like, the
There's-
winner,
You want
Bank Beater McGee.
Yeah.
Hey, listen, we
Let me
should
get my
enter the
45.
tournament. I'll get those Snoopy pole because I can't do a
Oh,
bank
yeah.
caster.
I can't
I'll
do nothing.
You know what I mean? Throw
I'm
it
gonna
out
get a
there.
stick with a string. I'm like, damn, that's Bank Beater boys. One of the last 3 tournaments.
there is a
We got a
popular
sponsor.
pro, and his name's John Cox, and that is his method.
Love
He
him.
said,
Shout
"I
out
will
to
either
Dick Cox,
win-"
Richard Cox again.
He's like, I'll win shallow or I won't win.
Win it all.
And he's still competitive,
That's
and
awesome.
he's still
Wow.
he's in the top all the time. So I mean, he's
so the one thing too, like around here, I call them guys that follow the fish. So when you start the season, these fish do certain things for certain reasons because
Yeah.
it's type of year. So there's these brothers that I fish against a lot.
Bank Beater.
We call them the Van brothers. Last name's Van.
Van Brothers.
That's not the Van.
Yeah.
Van
The oldest guy sits in the back in a chair, sits down. We always know it's him because he's sitting in the back, and his brother up front, he is actually a beta tester for our live scope. So he's the first one,
So
and
he's helping them make tweaks, I'm sure. And
man,
stuff
he
like that.
kicked our ass when
Van Brothers.
and when they first come out, he's like, "Yeah, man, I watched these fish, threw over top of this rock, watched it come out and get it." I'm like, "How the hell did you do that?" And well, he was one of the first people that had live scope and
Oh shit, that's
whipped
crazy.
us. And so, but he fishes every week, so he gets to follow these fish. So Keystone has
Keystone.
Keystone.
he's
I
still
thought you were talking about the guy who was
Yeah,
with
yeah,
Keystone.
that guy.
Keystone, man. You got Bank Beaters and Keystone fishing. I don't stand a chance.
Keystone
Love that
beers.
mullet.
But yeah, they, like I said, he's out there all the time. So he's following the fish, and they don't need the electronics. They just know where they're
They
going.
know where they're going.
Yeah.
Is it just because of repetitiveness of them being in the area?
Just they know where they're going. So like they're either moving in or out of pockets. They're moving in to ledges or stuff like that. They know where they're going because they follow them. So
yeah. How exciting was that too? Like for you guys to be fishing, like I mean, from a competitive standpoint, fishing like the areas the lakes around here, and then you guys go to was it North Carolina?
Mm-hmm.
For
South Carolina
for the national tournament you guys qualified for, and you guys are kind of going in cold turkey. You don't know this lake for shit, and you get a practice day and a half or whatever it was. How fun is it? I know there's like probably some anxiety, and you're like, man, we don't know this place. But how fun from a competitive standpoint to be like, man, I'm in a new domain, and I'm gonna see how much I can dominate it.
Oh yeah.
Like, is that just like get your adrenaline going even more?
Sure, I think so. I mean, it really tests your knowledge.
It tests you as an angler.
Yeah.
Like, how well am I? How good am I really?
Yeah.
Well, there's so much knowing this, what we talked about, of the strategy. Like I thought I was just throwing it up there.
You can study before you go out. You can study the lake. They've got
coves and
tons of different. You've got Google Maps, so you can pull it up and you can kind of study it, but you still have to kind of. There's sweet spots on the lake, and then there's dead spots.
For sure.
Yeah.
So you guys that you spend a lot of time on there, the better you're going to get. So it's. I mean,
that's
how much research like going into that? You guys went to that together as a team.
Yeah.
And like going up there, I mean, that drive is long.
Oh,
you're hauling a boat, and like I mean, in my head, you guys the whole time you're driving. I mean, I know there's you're bullshitting and stuff, but I feel like the whole time you're driving, you're talking strategy.
For sure.
Whoever's the passenger is looking up stuff. And, like, that's just got to be a hell of a fun weekend. Because the whole way there, you're like, how are we going to attack this?
Yeah.
Let's get our game plan. Just like any quarterback or you're scouting a pitcher or whatever. You guys are getting your game plan ready. And you're like, we got a practice day. This is how much time we got. Like, how fun is that?
So, and it happens, like, even like tomorrow. Like, my cousin's going to come, jump in the truck. And from when we leave my house till we get to the water, we're saying, hey, this is going to be our run. This is where we're starting. This is if they're there. We'll stay. If they're not, we're running this spot, this spot, this spot.
Cool.
And we're only going to at least stay so long for each spot.
Yeah,
So
time management is huge on the water.
Oh,
I mean, you can get caught up spending in one area, and you know these fish should move in or they should be there. From history, you got past history that it can kind of hurt you.
Is there like patterns of the fish movement that you guys can study? Or?
Yeah. I mean, especially this time of year. I mean, with them moving in the creeks and getting ready to come up to spawn.
Right.
Yeah.
So it just...
and that's a lot of knowledge on your guys' part to know.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, I know it's second nature to you guys right now, but like the breeding movements and like all that stuff and the time of year, the weather and everything, which is so cool because, like I said, anyone that doesn't know fishing like myself would think you guys just get on your boat and go out there and fish. And it's so cool to be in the room with you guys like, this is our strategy. We know this is coming up.
it's a lot more than just jumping on there and saying how we're fishing.
And it's badass.
Oh, it's super cool.
Because a lot of people don't know that. No. And it's like you get into it and like any other like sport, like growing up, whenever I started watching sports and stuff, and I kind of got into watching golf. It was always something my grandpa had on, and it was kind of boring. Yeah. And then when I got older, I was watching it with him. I was like, my grandpa was telling me a little more, and I was like, man, that's pretty interesting. Yeah. And it's like stuff like that with you guys hearing you talk. I'm like, that's really like really really interesting to hear you guys talk about it. And I'm like, there's so much more that goes into it.
Yeah. Well, and then I want to know, like, you guys have multiple stuff on y'all's jerseys and stuff. Are they called jerseys? I'm assuming, or kind of what?
Yep.
Yeah.
Can I get one?
So the sponsorship, actually, we're going to get one, but it can't go with you. That's the thing.
I was going to wear one. This is the closest thing I had to like a long sleeve.
I should have told you about the hat.
Like a fisherman in a softball.
The hat kind of really.
Fisherman.
You look like grumpy old man, dude. You don't ever bring that hat back, dude.
Listen, I flip it up. Anyways, you mean business. You flip it down, you're here to play.
So, and I know we're kind of wrapping up, but to get like, so let's say sponsorships or not even that. Maybe somebody that pays your entry fee, maybe pays whatever. Is that where you just like people or you win tournaments and they give you stuff like that? Is that kind of how it opens that opportunity up or what?
So for me, we have built me and Haney and me and Keith have built a resume.
Yeah, you
pretty
really
much.
have. No, I agree.
So I mean, so Keith is a big numbers guy. he pulls up how many top 10s we've had, how many wins we've had, how many exposure, people that's going to see our boats. So, whenever we put people's logos or anything on that we show through our boat, our jerseys, anything like that, our social media, that's how we kind of sell it to get help. And so, like, this year I've talked to Todd Billingsley and PJs, and Connell Karen. He has Cobblestone and a few other house, construction guys,
Right.
and he has said that he would be a part of that. And then your business and
Yeah.
and just little stuff that we put on the wrap.
Right.
That's a big deal that that you can get the exposure that that people want.
Yeah.
So.
And I can't wait to do that. That's
Yeah.
a good thing with our company, the graphics factory outside of our side deal is, we with us is, you're one of my great friends, and I love, and we keep talking about it every podcast we do, man, and bringing the people on that we respect the most. You know what I mean? And I would love, even if you take our name off of it, you know what I'm saying? Like PJs and Todd and all them. I know how much they do for you guys and what you represent as fishermen outside of the friendship. For somebody to say, you know what, this one I'm going to put on the side of the boat, just that should tells me enough of how good they are. You know what I mean? And everywhere, we went to the boat show one day, and every time, man, people came up to them all the time. Yeah. They came up to them all the time. They're like, hey, man. And they were coming up like the Nichols guys. They're like, oh, man, that's they're freaking good-ass fishermen. You know what I mean? To me, that represents a lot.
Yeah.
As fishermen, I'm sure that probably, says, hey, here we are. I mean, to get Anglers of the Year, I seen it.
Yeah, when did you guys get that? When did you guys get that?
It was 2 years ago for him, me and him, and then the year before that, me and my other partner got it. So we had 2 years in a row. So it was
that's freaking
pretty
so
awesome.
cool.
That's pretty cool.
Two different clubs. So
That's awesome.
Great. Yeah. So, and we'll close
You
with
guys
this
do
too.
know how to fish.
Kind of. I think. Hey, what we call again? What's the
bank beater.
Bank beaters. The bank beaters are
The bank beaters are gonna whoop their ass.
That might be a good name for a new club. The
Bank beaters.
No, you can't take it.
No
Warren.
electronics.
No,
No, time out. You can't take our thought. That's our fishing team.
Can I get bank
I'm gonna
beaters?
have Haley print the jerseys out tomorrow.
The bank beaters are off, and they're running.
We're in a paddle boat.
Yeah.
How
How much can I get on the jersey?
I can see you giggling all the way down the bank.
They got a little bounce on that beater over there.
Bank beaters.
He's beating off down the coast.
One thing I do want to know, shout out to the bank beaters because we will be that team.
Hey, you guys are going to get whooped. What kind of better they using?
Doesn't matter.
Night crawlers.
Night crawlers.
Patty crawler.
What do they call them? The fish you throw back? Trash
fish.
Night crawler trash fish. Coming down the beater bank.
The bank beaters are throwing the trash lures. What we'll close it to is I want to know the story about when you got grounded.
Oh, hell. So when I was young, man, so you grow up, getting in trouble here and there. I tried my best. My dad was very persuasive.
Did you get grounded like as a fisherman on the tournaments?
No, Haney grounded them.
Yeah. So I would get grounded, but I loved it because I get grounded off my phone, which I didn't have, or my pager or whatever. Back then,
fax machine.
Come on, baby.
Yeah.
Come on, baby.
You
Come
know.
on.
Smoke signal, whatever we had. And they figured, my
not
mom and
editing this
dad figured it out. It didn't matter because all I do I come home every day, usually pretty much every day. I'd come home, get my poles,
Go fishing.
and I'd be at the pond.
I'll be in my prison down there.
And I'm gonna tell you, I got a bad temper, and I've kind of grown out of it. But when I was young, I had a really bad temper, and they figured it out finally. When I get grounded, it wasn't off anything else except for fishing.
Oh, they got you where it hurts.
And I didn't know what to do with myself. I'd have lost my mind because I could not go fishing.
Yeah.
And and I lost my temper, and it's funny because I still tell that story. My dad was building a fire, and I wanted to go fishing. He said no. And I went to my room, and I slammed my door, and I was like, you're the freaking biggest idiot for slamming your door. About that time, Dad was like, get in here. And of course, he introduced me to his favorite belt.
This is the bank beater, boy.
And
This is
that
the
is,
bank beater. His name's Johnny.
And I learned real quick not to get mad about being grounded off fishing, but that was probably the worst. Like I just couldn't take it. I wanted to be fishing every day, and that's how it's been since I was little. And if I had a pond around me I could go to, I'd still probably do it every day.
Yeah. So what's and I want to know this to close it all out is I want to know well, first of all, let's do this, Ethan. I kind of want to see. Let's bet on tomorrow. So is it going to be their team or their team ahead?
Well, Warrior won't let me fish with him or eat the fish he catches because I didn't catch him, but I can't catch him.
So let's do like a Let's do like $20 bet.
Let's do $20 bet.
I got Warrior and you got Haney. All right, deal.
So
So
I got Haney.
So how about for real though? Eventually, this summer, one of you hops in the boat with me.
Yes.
The one.
Team Haney.
And we have a little fish off, a little half a day.
I'm
Dude,
down.
come
I was
on,
about
Haney.
to ask when I
love
got.
that
If you don't think I'm bringing Roman candles to shoot at your boat when you're fishing, you're totally wrong.
And you will die if you get my
Like
boat.
that damn bank beater boys got me again.
hey, they don't have the $10,000, but they have the expensive boats, bro.
I'll just shoot him in the water and
Yeah,
scare the fish.
it's definitely.
And I'm gonna surprise the shit out of you whenever you're like, "What is down there?" You're gonna see like fins and like air bubbles, and I'm scooping.
I'm gonna see
out
your
down
hat.
there.
I'm gonna see your hat, and I'm like, that's
I'm
gotta
gonna
be.
tug your pole and be like,
Yeah.
loser. He didn't catch anything. I'll put like a little dog toy on it.
Here's what's going to
And
be
I should
funny.
have said I'm gonna tug his pole. Like
Here's what's
that was
Yeah,
the wrong
tug it
turn
away,
off.
baby.
Here, I
Tug
tell
it
you.
away, bro.
I'm a bank beater. What do you expect?
Hey,
I'm down. I'm so down.
well, look,
You know,
here
we're
we
gonna
go.
whoop
Here we go.
y'all's
We
ass.
got to close it like this. We always do.
We're gonna whoop it.
But here's
you're gonna regret.
No,
not
no,
letting me
no,
on your
no.
boat.
But, hey, Warrior, we're in. You know why we're winning? Because both of them motherfuckers are going to be on their phones.
Yeah,
and we're going to be
exactly.
fishing.
The only reason we're gonna be on our phones is taking pictures of these 8-pound bass, boy.
So before we close on it, man, I brought this for you guys.
Oh, shit, yeah.
So this was
You did bring me a jersey.
No,
Yeah.
no,
I want to wear it.
so this was actually me and Keith actually qualified for Bass Pro's 50th anniversary. So they put a big tournament on. It was $1 million to
Huge
pay out.
tournament, big tournament.
Jeez.
And so they
Hell
took
yeah, dude.
so many people from each one, and we made a decision. It's like, dude, we have to have this much pounds to be there. And we had a rough tournament. We lost a couple fish, and we were like one of the last people there and to weigh in. And we were within that cut line. I was like, it's gonna be so close.
Yeah, they made it.
So I'm laying
a big
on the
tournament.
dock, just holding my boat. I'm like, we didn't make it. And he come walking down there, wagging around. He's like, pack your bags. I'm like, no freaking way. He's like, yeah, we just qualified for that $1 million deal.
No way.
You're going to give
So-
that stuff? Let's check it out.
So this is what they give everybody a jersey.
Oh, my God, dude. Are you sure?
Yeah,
Look
man.
at this, dude.
Look at that.
Love it.
Qualifier. This is gonna look good at Whiskey 918.
There you go. Exactly. But
Listen,
it was one of the coolest, like
That's so cool.
Oh, dude.
really one of the coolest things I got to do. They gave every fisherman, a new reel, an
You guys
ice
at Table
chest.
Rock too?
Yeah, that's what was
Yeah.
at. Everyone went to
Table
Table Rock.
Rock. Yeah.
And that was one of those deals. Table Rock's so clear.
Yeah.
Those fish, when they were within 50 foot, they were gone.
Because that is a
And-
clear
Yes.
rock bottom
Yeah.
lake.
In clear.
well, man, I
So-
can tell you this,
That's
bro.
awesome.
You
That's
you
beautiful.
guys are, you guys know it. You guys are my great friends, and man, and
My great friends,
I'm
too.
so glad
Not
that,
just
I'm
most.
sorry to just said,
Except
but
for Warrior. I don't
I
know
mean-
his first name.
But dude, I'm gonna tell you this. We're gonna put it up here. We're gonna find,
yeah.
we're gonna put it
Find
right
a
somewhere
spot.
up here, and we love you guys, man.
Yeah, man.
Thank you,
Yeah,
thank you
It's
for
gonna look
having
great
us.
with my hat, you know.
And I'm sorry, Ethan wore the hat.
Hey, it's a
but-
great hat.
Here.
Is there another one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Here's to the bank beaters.
Bank
Bank
beaters.
Good luck this weekend, fellas.
Thank you, man.
Yeah,
Good luck, Haney.
y'all
More
both.
Haney. More
Thank
Haney.
No more Warrior because I'm gonna win. Hey, we bet.
Guys, appreciate you guys having us, man.
$20
Yeah, man.
race.
We,
Love you,
there's
bro.
still a lot more we could
Thank
have
you.
got to. Man.
Hey,
me
so
too.
I did want to say one last thing.
Come on.
Mo did sponsor us going to our tournament.
I did.
Yeah.
He put his,
Ethan don't know about this one.
I was helping.
we got some graphics put on there, and I didn't know until I got all the way there that I lifted up my my live well, and I got a Waffle House hat on with the
Boom.
Mo.
With Mo.
And it wasn't just one, it's both sides. So
Oh, 100%, both sides.
I
You
lift
know,
Waffle House
yeah,
hat.
yeah.
So
Just
like,
for my birthday.
I'm pulling up to check in, and they have to check your live everywhere we go. Check your live well. So I'm like, flip it up. I'm like,
Oh god.
bro, what? No.
Hey, they sent me a picture and they're like, I gotta look at your fucking face all the time.
I would love
So
if they're like,
So they pulled it up, saw my little face with the Waffle House hat on, dude. I was like, hey, that's
So
good.
in my boat has cameras in the actual live well.
yeah. Oh really?
So on my screen, when I turn it on, his punk ass looking at me in my damn live well on my screen. So I'm like,
That's hilarious.
You're welcome.
and it's still there. And I'm like,
I would
nah,
love if
man.
you guys text him like, "Hey, you cost us the tournament."
Yeah, they scared our
You
fish.
just want the picture.
Yeah.
Right there.
Hey, but the first time I was on there, y'all freaking did well. Remember, I was like, yeah, I'm lucky.
Yeah,
Yeah.
You need a little Big E love. You know,
Nah,
I'll
you're
get
out,
a
man,
picture of
we're-
me in there. But then like Haney be like, man, I had 18.
So you're not
bro.
allowed on my
It's 9 I can't wait to whoop y'all's ass in a fucking.
This
We're
is
gonna
gonna be
fish in
awesome.
one of them ponds next to the interstate. I don't give a damn.
That's
I
right.
love y'all.
Thanks,
Hey,
man.
thanks, man.
Cheers, boys.
Thank
Cheers,
you.
boys.
Cheers,
Appreciate you.
cheers. Thank you,
Thank
thank
you.
you, thank you, thank you.
Ripping lips.
Ripping lips and beating bangs.
All right.